Is it true?
You have to be more specific.
Are there rats in the ED?
Apparently, if somebody already snitched.
Do you know how bad this looks? One more reason to shutter this place. Only the emergency department admits
The emergency
rats.
department would never admit rats unless they had the right insurance.
Did you catch any of them?
One, and I charged him for a full visit.
I'm glad you think this is funny.
I'm sorry that you don't.
Did you call an exterminator?
He's waiting on a second opinion?
You were pushing your luck today.
Don't worry, last I heard they were headed for the cafeteria, so they should be dead within the hour. I'll be here all week.
Or maybe not.
Hello, all. Welcome back to What's On Tonight, a podcast with elaborate, quirky, and unpredictable conversations about TV, movies, and more. I'm Becky.
And I'm Mandy.
Tonight, we are covering The Pitt, Season 1, Episode 2, titled 8 a.m. Please note, this is a spoiler-filled podcast, so if you have not watched the episode yet and don't want to be spoiled, come back and check us out after you've finished. Episode 2 was written by R. Scott Gimel and directed by Amanda Marsalis. What is this episode about, Mandy?
Dr. Robbie assists siblings in managing their aging father's final care. Samira protects a woman with a misunderstood condition from police intervention.
Overall, first impression of this episode. You go first.
I definitely enjoyed this one even more than the first one. I think just because we already had the setup for a lot of the medical mysteries that we were dealing with in this show. We already knew a little bit about all of the characters, so we really got to spend more time with the drama of what was going on in the hospital. So I liked it.
I liked it too. I think this one gave us, episode 1 gave us the introduction to the cast and characters, while this one, like you said, focuses more on the patients, what's going on with the patients, and then the relationships with their caregivers. I think it's everyday medical situations that people go through. And I think it gave us a great view of what it looks like from the side of the doctors and nurses who care for them, but also from the viewpoint of family who also is involved in that care. I give this one 4.5 Myrna vagina shots out of 5.
I wonder if Myrna has a sensitive cervix.
I bet you she does. Dr. Robbie would know.
If he's seen it at least once.
One. All right, so we open up where we left off with Robbie and his flashback to the early days of COVID. Kudos to Noah Wiley for doing a great job of showing the despair and helplessness medical professionals had to be feeling during that time. He quickly shakes it off when Dana notifies him that there is an emergency coming in. And we have our first patient. Before I go into our first patient, do you have anything to add about the opening?
No, I think that one of the things that's kind of an ongoing theme that adds a lot of tension to all of this is the way that it's not just that he doesn't want to deal with his unresolved trauma from COVID, but like he literally doesn't have time. He doesn't have time to.
Right.
And I think that's another probably chronic issue with medical professionals. Do you know that they have the worst health care? My friend who's a nurse practitioner in Dallas, her health care is so insanely expensive. And there's a lot of times that she can't get medication that she needs or wants because her insurance won't cover it. So I think that that's just an ongoing tension that's going to play out throughout this, is that, it's not just that he's being stubborn or anything like that. It's just that he genuinely does not have time to deal with his trauma.
Yeah, that's interesting about the healthcare. I'm just used to Mom. She had government healthcare. Yeah, she had the VA healthcare. It's
really
always
good.
Great. So
yeah.
So our first patient is a 19-year-old who seems to have suffered from an overdose of fentanyl. Again, I said it last week, and I'm going to say it again for this one. I love how they're bringing current real-world issues into the show and showing the realities of it. Fentanyl, the opioid crisis is insane, but fentanyl is becoming a huge, huge problem in America. America. I'm assuming all over the world, but I only hear stories of what's happening in America. And you can't turn on the news today without hearing about fentanyl overdoses and things like that. So another thing I'm glad that they brought into a story, so it's not just for dramatic effect, but I'm hoping that all of these are to bring light issues that are prevalent in our society today.
Yeah, I have two notes here. My first two notes are number one, definitely fentanyl. And before they ever started working on this kid, I knew that was where they were going with it. My second note is, Becky, you're going to get annoyed with me for guessing what's going on with these people. Eric hates watching TV with me, because especially procedurals like this, because immediately I'll start saying, oh, this is what it is, like way before they ever get
Do
to the
you
point.
think his parents have something to do with it? Oh, okay.
No, I just meant like I'm always trying to guess ahead about what's going to happen.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry, I thought you.
No, I don't think his parents had anything to do with it, but that storyline, like I'm glad, like you said, that they're talking about it, because it is that is my biggest fear as a parent, as far as like dangers that my kids face, because it's so prevalent, and it's not just quote unquote bad kids that are having these problems that are running into, it's kids that you could think you're taking a Tylenol from one of your friends, and it's something they're putting it in everything these days. It's really scary. I've got a friend who is in local government around here. He's one of the squeaky cleanest people you've ever met in your life. His mom is a bishop in their church. He and his sister and his little brother, they were a very, very tight knit family, educated, college, all of that. And a few years ago, his little sister and his cousin and another boy all OD'd on fentanyl in an apartment complex in Lebanon here. And I can't remember. I think it was Xanax maybe that it had been in. I mean, it could have been any of us back in that day. And just to think that two kids from the same family just gone like that, and the other kid's mom was the one that came home and found him like that, and it's just horrifying. It's a horrifying reality, and I am glad that they chose to talk about it. It broke my heart. That was a hard one.
It was. I think the heartbreaking scene of the parents having to come to terms with the fact that, like you said, their son was taking something, whether he knew it was laced with fentanyl or not, I doubt.
I wonder if they'll even tell us. I mean, because I think that maybe is a reality, is that a lot of these parents, just like I was talking about with my friend's little sister, they had no idea that she would have even taken Xanax, because you don't ever think even these were good kids.
Well, talking about, parents, I always think about my mom and my dad when I think about drug overdose or alcoholism and things like that. Because, my parents raised all three of us. My mom especially raised all three of us the same. And my brothers took a different path. And unfortunately, we lost my older brother to long-term effects of alcoholism. And just watching this, after watching my parents trying to accept that their son is gone, even though this had been going on with him for a long time, but it just really made me sad. And I could see that the parents trying to rationalize in their head how this could happen when they've done the best that they can. And you can't always control everything that your kids are going to do.
Right. It's just a reminder that this isn't a quote unquote bad person or bad kid problem. It's a human problem.
Yeah. I had mixed feelings about the way Robbie handled it. I love how empathetic he was, and I think empathy was the message of this episode, based on how we get into each doctor dealing with each patient and whatnot. And he was so empathetic and trying to gradually work his way up to telling the parents the reality that he knew that their son was never going to wake up. But I also tried to play devil's advocate in my head. It's like, was that the right thing to do when he wanted to give them false hope, knowing it was false hope, hoping it would soften that final blow? I can't imagine how I would even be able to begin to handle that as a medical professional.
I think he did the right thing, because while he knew in his head and his heart and through his own experience that this was very likely going to overwhelmingly unlikely that there was going to be some sort of massive miracle here. He also understood enough about human psychology. And as it turns out, there's something that's said in here that turns out maybe he knows even from experience as a parent that these parents are going to need to know going forward that they did everything they could before they accepted that their son was gone. It wasn't so much, I thought, giving them false hope.
No, you're right.
It was very much the way that I would have wanted to be treated as a parent, is that I could at least give myself the peace of mind of knowing at the end of the day, we didn't just immediately give up on my child. We tried every single thing there was medically out there to make absolutely sure that this was the reality. So I didn't really feel like it was giving them false hope so much as future peace of mind.
I like your take on that, and I do think that's the right way to look at it. I was just playing devil's advocate in my head.
Sure. Well, and Dr. Collins said, are you giving them false hope?
Yeah.
So absolutely, that, if you know this is very likely the reality, I'm glad they explored that, of the why he did that.
I also like that he treated that young man with dignity, getting him a private room, which unfortunately does have some effects for another patient.
Yeah.
I love this character, and I love the way Noah Wiley's playing him, and I love the way that they're writing him, and I love seeing the human side of being a healthcare person.
Yeah.
It was brutal. Most of these stories were brutal, but I think that the way that they portrayed it and wrote it was absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
So the next story, the next patient, is a continuation from last week. It's one of the elderly man that we get from the nursing home.
Ooh, this one got me heated.
Who we discover has a DNR. And when the siblings come in, the brother and sister, Robbie explains to Dad's wishes that he's okay with IV treatments and whatnot, but he does not want any machines or anything to keep him alive. And both kids acknowledge that they know their dad did not want that. And Robbie explains his honesty about his condition, that, he's not likely to get better, and here's what's going to happen when he doesn't. And he reiterates the father's wishes. But I couldn't imagine as a doctor, you can't tell them what to do as a physician dealing with a human life. You can't, knowing he wanted to say, honor his wishes and don't do this. And then it's evident from the sister's reaction. The brother seems to be, let's do what Dad wanted, but it's evident that the sister is leaning towards not. And as we get further into the story, I was furious when she says, what about a week? And Robbie's like, it's not going to make a difference for him. And she flat out says, but it would for us. And that's where I got mad.
Yeah, me too. I was mad throughout the whole thing. But one of the things I hadn't really thought about while I was watching it was think about and I'm sure absolutely that this was deliberate, but think about the two situations and how Dr. Robbie treated both of them on the one hand. And I think it just kind of speaks to the duality of being in healthcare, particularly in this type of healthcare provider situation in emergency rooms, where you understand how precious and tragic it is, how precious life in general is, and how tragic it is to lose someone that was so young, that boy's parents, and the way that he allowed them their hope to the point that they had to establish that they had done everything they could so that they could process and get to where they needed in their grief. But he wasn't also, what he was doing was in no way, shape, or form invasive or making his patient's life worse.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got this other end of the spectrum where, as a physician, you also understand that life ends, that is a natural progression of, in a best case scenario, you get to live a long, full life. And then at the end, it's eventually all of our time to go. And I think that this kind of reminds me of the existentialism that we got into in the last episode about what we do in the shadows. And I will revisit that something that as a person who has had depression my entire life and have often been thought of as a Debbie Downer, that one of the ways that I see that versus that as I understand it now, other people don't always see it this way, is that to me, the reality of death is just kind of something I think about every day.
Mm-hmm.
But I've also come to understand that a lot of people just cannot deal with that reality. They are terrified. It's scary to everyone, but I just feel like maybe some of us have an understanding of the way that it should play out, and we can deal with it in a way that some people can't. And I feel like this gets to what I personally find frustrating about that attitude. I volunteered in nursing homes for, I've always loved older people. My friends, when I was 5 years old, my best friends were in their 70s. I have just always genuinely enjoyed being around older people. And one of the things that I realized we're volunteering in nursing homes is that a lot of people they love their parents. It's not even most of the time that they don't love or care about their loved one. They can't deal with the long, slow progression of what actually happens to people if they are lucky enough to live to a very old age. And so a lot of times they will just shunt them in these nursing homes, and they don't come visit them very often. They don't want to look at them. They don't want to see what is happening to their loved one, whereas that's when their loved one needs them the most. And it's so selfish. And then they do things like this, where I don't think that these two people didn't love their dad, but just like you said, at the end of the day, they weren't thinking about what was best for him. They were thinking, I'm not ready to deal with the guilt of letting him go. I'm not ready to deal with the grief of it. I'm not ready. So I don't think it comes from a place of evil, but it's still selfish.
I agree. I don't think it was malicious. I tried very hard to put myself in her shoes, because as we get older, our parents are getting older, and
right.
I've had conversations with both my parents, and went through the process of getting set up as my mom's medical power of attorney should she not be able to make those choices for herself. And I flat out asked her, like, what do you want? And she's the exact same thing as this gentleman. She's like, if it's up to a machine to keep me alive, I don't want to be on it. And I can, you don't want to think about that stuff, but you can't help it. Especially,
it's part of life.
Yeah. And I think about how I could see me calling you and being like, I'm not ready to do this.
Sure.
But I would do it because I don't want my mom to suffer and be in a position that she didn't want to be. I could see the sister, because I don't think the brother was with it. I think the brother the entire time wanted to follow dad's wishes. Because when Dr. Robbie looks at him and he's like, are you in on this too? But he was too weak. I don't know, weak or...
Weak. That doesn't let him off the hook to me.
No, it doesn't.
That gets back to, I know you weren't. That was one of them, again, we talked about this in the last episode, but it was even more prevalent in this episode. My one little minor quibble with the casting, or with the choices that they made as far as the plot of this episode, is there were a lot of bitchy women in this episode. And it felt like in every situation where there was a couple of any kind, whether it was brother and sister or husband, wife, whatever, the woman was the one that was hysterical or ridiculous or aggressive or what have you. And I agree with you that I think that the brother was far more reluctant to go against his dad's wishes, but I don't let men have passes. So even fictional one.
Right. He should have stood up.
Right. You don't get out of your emotional responsibility by just saying, the fact that you were too weak to stand up personally just makes you worse to me.
Yeah.
If we're looking at a scale. I felt so bad for him because you knew he did not want to do that, but he also had Dr. Robbie, but he also had like this whole thing weighing on him that he has to have good customer service ratings, which is insane in a hospital. And if he didn't do what they wanted, then they very likely could get him fired.
Right. And that was another thing that frustrated me and pissed me off about that whole situation is I wrote it down here. First, I wrote, this is a situation that happens too often. Sometimes we make decisions that are better for us, but not for the people who were directly affected.
Right.
And Dr. Robbie was like, he's going to be in pain. He's going to be confused and he's not going to get any rest. This is not good for him. And she's just like, well, but it's good for us. So
Yeah.
And then when he goes to start piecing together things on the intubation tray, he did not try to hide the absolute anger
Mm-hmm.
and disappointment in those people on his face. But you could tell he was.
And if he gets a bad rating for this, oh my
Yeah,
God.
I'm gonna climb through that
I will
TV.
slap Gloria in the face if
Yeah.
she comes down there with her ugly pink lipstick and tries to talk shit to him about this.
Girl, back off. I'm like,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah.
That whole
That was
scene was
hard.
heartbreaking, and I give kudos to the gentleman playing the elderly man who
All
nailed
of it.
it. The
Yeah.
siblings, even
The
though I
siblings
hate
were
them,
good. Yeah.
they nailed it. No, Wiley was brilliant. That whole scene was just amazing. And
That was the
then
kind of thing that I was saying. I'm sorry I cut you off, but that was the kind of thing when I was telling you that I was wanting more of out of the, like, less of the super duper dramatic moments and more of like these are the realities
Yeah.
that these folks are having to deal with every single day. I
Yeah.
could very much see that happens, I bet, 50 times a day in an average hospital.
I think we got that in this episode big time.
Yeah, me too.
Except for Myrna.
Myrna.
But I'm telling you right now,
That's me in 40 years.
My words, and I quote, if I'm forced to be in a hospital and not always in my right mind, please let me be like Myrna. Her
Yeah.
asking Robbie if he wants to see her vagina and him saying he already has and doesn't care to see it again was amazing. And I love it that they follow up with Dana. Myrna, are you behaving yourself? And she's like, of course. There was a lot of heavy shit in this episode, but they did a great job sprinkling in these just tiny little quick moments of comedic relief.
I like how you can tell the regulars. I like how they have kind of like, because I imagine that's true too. You get to where you see some of the same people. Like when I was telling you about the last episode that Bonnie used to haul in the ambulance, the armed person.
You just said ambulance.
How do you say ambulance?
Ambulance.
It's ambulance. Where are you from, Snooty? Ooh, in Perry, down here in Mount Juliet, we say ambulance.
I grew up in Carter County, and even in Carter County, we say ambulance.
Yankees.
Oh, so the next patient of note is the guy who has the bike accident. I think he was on maybe a scooter or something, and he ran into an open car door. Ow.
Yeah.
I thought about you when they were doing the crike, but I thought this was another cool visual of getting to see some really cool medical tools, and they're doing a really good job with the special effects. But I was glad that our sweet Dr. King got the chance to do this procedure, and I'm glad that she was successful. But I like that she was excited and proud, and like how funny Noah Wiley was when he went to she went to give him the high five. But I like that it wasn't overacted. It wasn't cheesy. It was like seeing what I could imagine as a woman her age who just performed this amazing life-saving miracle would be afterward.
She's not cocky about it.
Yeah, glad to see a win.
She's very aware that it could have gone badly and that she did something really truly amazing, and that it wasn't just like, I do 15 of these a day, like
right.
Like old pasty and bitchy.
Who is my next point? First, I'm glad that Dr. Frank.
I don't know, gay face is what I call him.
So I'm glad to see when Trinity obviously took it upon her. She's cocky, and she took it upon herself to do something. I really don't. I like to look away when she's on my screen.
She's not there.
Yes, because she really makes me angry.
Yeah, I don't like her. She's unearned. She's cocky in an unearned way. Like, what are you basing this on?
Hey, not to slight interns, but you were a baby. You are a baby. These grown people have been doing this for way longer than you. And the way she talked to Javati, I hope I'm getting her name right. Javati, and the way she called Dr. Whitaker Huckleberry, and the way, even when she's being scolded, and he's like, no, you don't get to do that. But she's like, what? I know what I'm doing. I need to see her get knocked down.
She's going to. I feel like that's very, very obviously something that they're setting up, or at least I hope so, because if they get to the end of this and she's still just breezing through like she's MC Cool Cat. I'm going to be pissed.
MC Cool Cat. Is that a reference to Opposites Attract?
Yes.
I love you. You complete me. So yeah, I could go on about the surgeon and Trinity.
That weirdly erotic moment when they were cutting into somebody.
Dude, that's just, I don't know.
I'm glad we got the same thing from that, though, because I'm like, is this just me? Or are they trying to make this tracheotomy sexy?
Because nothing says, I'm into you, like, hey, take this scalpel.
It was like ghosts, except bloodier.
Put them on a turntable
Yes.
with some clay and a scalpel. And
yes, she Patrick Swayze'd that girl.
She sure did. And everybody's reaction was like, what is happening here?
Oh my gosh, Becky called back. Was that Patrick Swayze?
Swayze. Oh, I miss you, little Laszlo. I think the greatest story of this episode, well, there were two moments that were great, but this was my favorite storyline was, and it really gave Dr. Mohan, who kind of was the joke of the first episode because she takes too long with patients, really gave her a chance to step up and shine favorite. Here as when
this and the old people were my two favorite. The old people made me mad, but I loved this one that you're about to talk about.
So a young Black woman is brought in screaming in pain while being physically restrained by, I'm assuming they're security officers. So she was thrown off of they kicked her off the bus because of the way she was acting. And she was obviously having difficulty talking, but I'm pretty sure more than just when Dr. Mohan heard her say sickle cell, I'm pretty sure this woman said that multiple times.
And no one was listening.
No one was listening to her. And all I could think about was the story of that guy who just got off for killing that mentally ill Black man on the subway. And I had to pause and walk away for a minute and come back because this was really upsetting me. But that they brought it home in a convincing, eye-opening, but not over the top, cheesy way.
Right.
So Dr. Mohan recognizes that she's suffering from a sickle cell flare up and gets the woman started on I was taken aback by the amount of medication that woman was on. And when she gives her the self doser thing and Dr. Whitaker makes the comment, it only works once an hour, don't go crazy. It's obvious that he's not taking this seriously, be it because she's a Black woman. I don't, that's the way I took it.
Mm-hmm.
I loved the way Dr. Mohan didn't say this in front of the patient. She was mad. I could tell. She's like, can we consult? And she dresses him down for his lack of empathy and basically just explains to him, you cannot judge a book by its cover. You need to listen to these people because it's not what you see on the surface. There's more to these people than their illness or whatever behavior that I do think he heard her, and I think he learned
for sure
from that. But I think he should have been the one who walked back in that room and apologized to the patient, not Dr. Mohan having to be the one to apologize.
No, I agree. I think that I Googled, because I don't know a whole lot about sickle cell, so I Googled it to see how common it is. And it's about one in every 365 people of Black or African descent are affected by sickle cell disease. And it's incredibly dangerous and painful and prevalent.
And they're treated like drug seekers.
Right. Well, and sickle cell is just one example, but I know I'm not telling you anything when I tell you that especially Black women have a much higher mortality rate than most other demographics that are out there. When you look at same situation or statistics like age range, lifestyle choices, things like that, especially maternity. But I hadn't ever really thought about how sickle cell is another one of those situations. I do know that there is an epidemic of people not taking Black women's pain seriously and treating them like junkies or drug addicts when they are telling them that they need more medication or that they're not listened to, and it leads to death. It's not just about being rude or racist. It has very, very real world impacts in the medical community because it is epidemic that there are a lot of doctors that don't take Black women specifically, Black people in general, but Black women specifically seriously in their pain.
To add to that point, I think I mentioned last episode, my mom was recently in the emergency room. She's fine now, but when I called her to check on her day before yesterday, I asked her, how things were going. And a complaint of hers for a long time is that she tells her, my mom is smart. She's smart in general, but that woman knows medicine. She knows
the
what's
human
good
body
for her. Yeah, she knows what's not. And she will constantly try to have a conversation with her primary care physician about things, and he brushes her off. She's like, he just doesn't hear anything I say. And
that's infuriating.
She was so excited to have the emergency room doctor that she had because she's like, he actually listened to me and what I was telling him, and she's going to see if he's accepting patients or where his practice is so she can change doctors. She's like, it was just refreshing. But that's not uncommon, like you said, that for Black people in general, but it's really common with Black women. We just aren't heard. And I don't know why that is, but even it's in my chart notes, but I'll go ahead and bring it up. Dr. Frank mentioning the parents of when Dr. King's like, I'm glad this is okay. And he's like, yeah, it's okay because they're white.
Yeah.
If they were, and he's right. If they had been a family of color, both of those parents would probably be in jail and that kid would be in foster care.
Yep. They're given the reasonable benefit of the doubt that it was an accident and all of that because they're white. And I mean, it's maybe not going to happen in every scenario, but it's far more likely.
Yeah.
Far more likely. I loved how they brought social work into this because that is such a big part.
We haven't talked about her yet. Kiara?
But that's one of the things I think they're doing well is integrating that this is not just about doctors and nurse. I mean, like there's so many humans interacting to keep it all going. And one of the really important parts is social work.
God bless her for what she's carrying around and trying to do.
I could never do it.
I couldn't either. I commend the social workers who are in it to really genuinely try to help the people that they're put in charge of.
God love you because the odds are against you.
Right.
The bureaucracy is against you.
So there's a moment where, we talked about every little thing probably is going to come back and mean something. And we talked about how last week, or was it this episode, when Dr. Robbie tried to got the young man a private room to give him and his parents some time,
some peace,
and that resulted in Dr. Whitaker's gallstone patient being put out in the hallway, and Dr. Whitaker goes to check on him and discovers that the man is not breathing. This young man's acting was so amazing because we didn't really talk about it, but it's obvious that this young man, I think he's from Nebraska or something like that.
Broken Bow, Nebraska.
I think he doesn't feel like he belongs in this profession, that he may not be not cracked up, but what's that
I get the impression that he grew up very rural and probably very sheltered. And so I think it's all very new for him. But I don't get the sense like I do with Javati that he's not cut out for this.
No, I think he thinks he's lacking confidence.
Yeah.
And when they were, he was having a conversation with this patient, and the guy says, I bet your parents, and this was the sweetest man. I loved every moment he was on screen in these 2 episodes. And he's like, I bet your parents are really proud of you. And
Yeah.
I think that gave Dr. Whitaker just a little nudge to remind him,
This is a person, and
not only that this is a person, but that Dr. Whitaker is where he's supposed to be, that he's
Gotcha.
doing good. He's doing the right thing. And then when this person that he obviously has had a connection with because he felt something for this man, and that he's dead, and he's dead because he wasn't able to, I don't know that he wasn't able to, however you want to look at it, but the gentleman didn't get check on care that he should have gotten, and he was just left there. Everybody thought he was
because of
sleeping.
the crowd and because of and he was just ranked because there's so much going on at a certain level. You do have to rank importance of what's going on. And even if you are, I think he's going to suffer a lot of questions of, if I was more experienced, would this man still be alive?
Yeah.
I think that's what he's going to struggle with. But the reality is everybody has to start somewhere. Nobody, like that one guy that was yelling at Dr. Javadi because he was saying he had chest pains, and she...
Oh, I feel like he's going to come back because they said don't let anybody die in the waiting room. I think he might be one of those people.
I don't know, he's kind of a jerk, so I don't know that I'll be real sad if he does. But also, I felt like so much like her when she couldn't help herself from saying chest pain. It's just one pain.
Yeah,
it's not plural.
that was so you.
I was like, oh, girl, I've been there. He's not going to hear that. It's not going to make him like you more. But also, it's like, she's 12. Keep her away from me. I imagine a lot of new doctors get that.
Oh, I'm sure.
I think that Nebraska is going to have, that's going to be one of his arcs, is that he's going to be questioning, if I were more experienced, could I have saved that man's life, and do I belong here? But I also felt for Noah Wiley in that, because he really liked that guy. Like, they had rapport, they'd known each other, and now he made the choice to move him out of his room, and now he's gone.
Well, that's my point, is that everyone did their best to try to save him. And you could see most of the characters that were heavily involved from the second that guy was introduced. But it took Dr. Whitaker longer to let go. Robbie knew, Dr. Frank knew, they saw this wasn't going to go the direction he wanted to go. But again, empathy being the theme of the show, this kid hasn't seen this a whole lot of times.
So they're letting him have his...
They let him 3 more epis and we're done, and call it. And Dr. Robbie leaves the room. I felt like it was just a sign of respect to this kid, that we get it. We've all been here. And I think it was a big lesson for him, for Dr. Whitaker, that you can't save everyone.
Yeah.
It's not always going to be a happy ending. And that is a very unfortunate side of being a healthcare professional.
Well, and I think it's going to come back. I mean, the level of alcoholism that man was at.
That's not the same one.
That's not the same guy?
No, that's not the same guy.
Are you kidding me?
No, different man.
Because that was my thought. That man that was the alcoholic, he was at such a high level of alcoholism that I thought that the whole overarching thing was that they knew that guy was going to...
No, they're 2 different people.
Oh, well, look at that. Look at me.
So that was very sad, but I do like the way they respected that young man at that point and let him, I guess, almost not really, he wasn't, I guess he was grieving. They let him grieve.
Yeah, I mean, they knew he was going to be facing a lot of trauma and
I'm sure we haven't
guilt.
seen the end of it.
No, I think that's going to be a big... Speaking of which, though, so the guy that was in the background that was on the crash unit, I think in this scene, that was the silver-haired white dude. Are you telling me that's not the same guy from the first episode that was going to jump off the roof?
No, it's not.
I probably need to work on my face blindness if I'm going to be talking about a show that doesn't have the same 4 characters week in and week out.
Yeah, we messed up a lot on getting Laszlo, Nadia. See, I can't even think of their names right now. Right. I don't know how. I'm trying really hard.
We got their names wrong, but it was pretty easy to keep the cast together because it was the same 6 people every week. This is going to be real tough for me.
I'm trying when I write my note not to shorthand these people.
I'm going to have to get better at that because I thought I was doing really, really well. But I swear to God, I could have sworn that that guy was the same guy that was the alcoholic. And I thought that the guy from the first episode that was supposed to leave, that like was at the end of his shift, that was about to off himself, I thought he was all the way through the second episode.
Nope.
Okay. I'm just going to have to start like pausing and writing down who every single person that comes on screen is.
That's a good idea.
And identifying Mark.
Or do what I do. It hits identifying Mark. I have my phone up.
Like they're a feral cat.
I have the cast list on my phone. And as I'm watching, I'm like, oh, wait, who's that? And then I go find them and then I write their name down and continue
But there's
taking
40
notes.
people in some scenes.
That's why I use my phone. And that's why if I don't like you, I don't care what your name is. That's why Surgeon Lady is Surgeon Lady. I don't know her name.
I don't know that that's going to be the most efficient way for us to do this, but I'm going to get better. I'm going to get better next episode. I'll try to make sure that, did I ever tell you that there were parents on Jackson's ball team that I would like, there were these 3 dads that were like, and like there was like a small, medium, and large. There was a foot difference between their heights, but I could not tell them apart for at least 3 seasons. I knew them all. I knew all the kids were, but they all looked like the exact same man to me for several years.
That's amazing.
I don't know if
this'll
it's
be
amazing.
fun.
It was embarrassing, probably. I've only got 4 documents open. We'll just add that to the list.
Well, just when you take your notes, so you can write
I'm just
Dr.
kidding. I think that
King.
yes, that might very well.
I think it would help
be
me
helpful
too.
to me.
All right, so my last main point is very, very interested to learn more about Dr. McKay and ye old ankle bracelet. That was
a shocker.
It was when the alarm went off. I was like, wait, what?
I felt like there had to be more to her.
Oh, there is. For sure.
Well, no, I just I got that impression. That was not what I saw coming.
Oh.
The ankle. But it was like, oh, okay. There's the other shoe. No pun intended.
Yeah. Oh, I did not like Giovanni going over to Trinity and asking her, do you know anything about Dr. McKay? Because if that girl gets involved, it's none of your business.
Yeah, don't be bringing pale and skanky or whatever I called her, pale and bitchy, into this. Pasty and bitchy.
You called her pale and snarky, and I said call her parky.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, any more main points that you would like to discuss before we get into chart notes?
Do we want to talk about Columbine and his mama some more? We didn't really get into that. That was a whole nother thing that was going through this episode, as the lady who was had originally come in because she was making herself sick because she needed help with her son.
I don't have anything else on her because I felt like the main part of that got wrapped up last week. But if you've
No, yeah, because it's still ongoing.
No, it's still ongoing, but it just there wasn't anything new other than her trying to reach him.
Yeah, and he's not able to get it. Because here's why I wanted to bring that up is that I've got this note here that I'm like, why did no one call the school?
That's a good question.
It, like in real world, like I get they didn't because it's drama, but I'm saying
maybe they did.
They didn't should cover it in the show because he kept telling her, hey, you keep trying to call him. And I'm like, hello, if old boy is out there doing whatever, if we're freaking out about it, he's got a hit list of chicks he wants to take out. Somebody needs to call the school at this point. It's not like he didn't run out of the building weirdly and creepily. Somebody needs to go. I mean, I get it. You don't want to ruin this kid's life. You have empathy, whatever. But yeah, in this day and age, somebody should have been on the phone with the school. So, we didn't talk about Dr. Collins and the cop.
That's in my chart notes.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we were going to talk about that because I had thoughts.
All right, well, that is my first chart note. So let's say I have here Dr. Collins getting hit on by the cop and her adorably, slyly rejecting everything he was going to say. And then her turning around and doing the same to Dr. Robbie when he asked about it. And I have here, seriously, what happened between them? Did they bone? Is that his baby?
Yeah, that's his baby. He's knocked up.
We better get a flashback.
I feel like he might be married. He's got a kid. Did you not notice in the episode they were talking about the fact that I can't remember what it was. I didn't write
Frank
it down,
and
but
the dog.
Maybe, yeah, I think it was. No, it was something else. It was talking about he's got a teenage kid, a boy.
I completely missed that. I told you I block out anything that would suggest Noah Wiley has been with anyone else.
They didn't say anything about a wife, but he's got a teenage kid. And I don't know if he's married. I thought Gayface wasn't married. Also, how stupid is that he's
I'm going to need
getting
you
a
to stop
4-year-old?
calling him gay face because it makes it sound like it's, I don't know. I need you to come up with a
Sounds
less
homophobic.
offensive nickname. Call him Johnny Depp.
I'll think he doesn't look like Johnny Depp.
He's got the hair like 80s Johnny Depp. Hey, tell me that kid, you couldn't see him walking into 21 Jump Street.
I could see him walking into Tribe and being a great bartender about 21 Jump Street. But anyway, and honestly, I do understand and I hear you, and I will come up with a different nickname. I want to be clear that when I say gay face, I don't in any way, shape, or
I know
form
that.
mean, I think that when I say gay face, I just mean like this very clean, very cut, sculpted, given a lot of smize. That's just a phrase that's used a lot in the gay community. But again, this is one of the things I learned from my training from Launchpad Nashville is there is a difference between reclaiming and being offensive. So I don't want anyone to think I'm being offensive. I am using that term with a great deal of affection, but it definitely could come across as sounding homophobic. So I will definitely come up with something different to call him.
Call him Gaston.
Gaston works. He does have kind of a Gaston high cheekbone, something about him. Either way, giving a puppy to a 4-year-old because the 4-year-old says that he swears he'll take care of it.
And Dana's like, did you make this decision or did the mom make this decision? She's like, I did. It's like, oh.
Did she say mom? Because what I was about to say is, while I don't mean anything homophobic about saying gay face, I did realize that one thing that I said that was homophobic was that I said that I didn't realize that he was married, and I just assumed he's married to a woman. He could be married with a family and married to a man. Did they establish that?
I thought she said she, but I could be wrong. I will.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
Let's keep an eye out for that.
Oh, and the sandwich guy. You go on with your notes because I don't know what all you've got.
I don't have the sandwich guy in my notes. So if you want to talk about him, go ahead.
That was really it. Just it was funny that they've got the guy that obviously is another one of those regulars.
Which would also be me if I were stuck in a hospital gown.
For sure, me too.
Be like, what do you need? I'm going to need a sandwich. I'm going to need a 2-piece, a biscuit, and a Diet Coke, which is what I really want you to name your podcast. Did you ever see Queens of Comedy?
Yeah, girl, I've seen Queens of Comedy about 8 million times.
All right,
I know
that's what that's from.
She needs a 2-piece and a biscuit.
And then she's like, and a Diet Coke.
Love me some Monique. Old Monique. She's gotten a little crazy. But anyway, back to the cop. Yes, I thought that was very interesting that Noah Wiley was paying attention to all of that was going on. And then she was like, we're not having this conversation. But in the course of us talking about that, I'm now wondering, is Noah Wiley's character married? I definitely think he's the father of that baby.
I hope not.
What are you going to do?
I don't
What are you going to do, Becky?
Noah Wiley, not Noah Wiley. I follow him on Instagram, and he posted today that there was a photo of his wife at a restaurant on her phone. And he's like, sometimes, I have to get up and go to the restroom. And when I come back, before I get to the table, I just stop and stare and think, oh my God, how lucky am I that this beautiful person is mine, and I melted into a puddle, and then I'm pregnant too now.
Started pretending that you're her. You just started pretending he was talking about you.
Anyway, I'm not crazy, Noah Wiley. Please come on our show.
But what are you going to have to do if you have to deal with the fact that Dr. Robbie
I don't want that.
I'm not
I'm blocking it out.
I
respect you, and I could see it coming. It's one of those situations that I am not going to fret about it unless I have a reason to fret about it.
You stay there.
Thank you.
I'm pretty sure it's coming.
Yeah, okay. Major point.
What about the rats? Are we going to talk about those guys? Is that in your notes?
My next note is the rat. Well, we can move on to the rats. The rats jumping out of the van's jacket first, Dr. Collins just flat out no. And walking out was excellent. But every daggum joke Robbie made to that management lady, when she was like just berating him about
talking about how he charged him for a bed.
Charged him for a bed, and he's like, well, the good news is they were headed towards the cafeteria, so they'll be dead soon.
Yeah.
And just not she wants so bad to be this. And I wish they wouldn't have made her a black woman, because I feel it feeds into the angry black woman stereotype, but
Yeah.
I'm trying not to overthink it. But
Oh, hey, man, I thought, yes, even worse is that they had the angry black woman, but I felt like they made women in general
yeah,
the heavy in every situation in that episode.
I really liked how he responded to that.
Yeah, that was funny.
The shot caller dude, I genuinely think that guy deserved it.
I definitely thought that was funny, but what I did not understand is why didn't they just cut it off?
Well, didn't they explain that?
No, not to my satisfaction. If you look at the back of the collar, it's just made out of like a mesh.
Well, she
Not
crazy
mesh, but
glued
like,
it.
I know, but they still could have cut that part off. And then all they would have had to have done is, yeah, I know it had an adhesive on it, but if they had cut that part off, they could have very easily gotten there and dissolved the adhesive.
I don't think it was that simple, but I also think it could have just been them messing with him, that you may have to walk around
Maybe.
with this on and just let it come off
He
naturally.
did seem like a dick. I would probably do it just to be an asshole to him, but I felt like as a medical problem with that one was probably much easier to solve in the real world than they were acting like.
We talked about it briefly, but I want to give it a shout out again because I think it was so cute. It's Dr. King needing a break and busting out into the parking area singing Savage by Megan Thee Stallion in the parking lot while trying to pull herself together. I just thought that was adorable. And then the sweet janitor, Beto, who keeps wandering back to work, thinking he works there. I love Dana. This just added my love to Dana. And she's aware that he doesn't work there anymore, but she's like, what does it hurt? He gets to talk to people. He gets some exercise. They'll come get him in a few hours. I just thought that just added to my joy. Are you Googling trying to get a collar off that's been glued to yourself?
No, I'm looking at my notes here about all of this because I want to make sure that we do talk about what happened immediately after she started singing Savage, which was the guy showing up and getting thrown out.
I personally ignored it because they called it the homeboy ambulance.
I was going to ask you, did you notice that they said that?
I noticed, and it just pissed me off.
I don't know if they meant this to be something that was highlighted in that scene, but I think maybe it is because I think maybe this will also be part of her journey. I thought it was interesting that this girl seems to have very limited knowledge of what other aspects of Black culture might be in some situations. Not that violence or danger or whatever is always Black culture, but there are a lot of people that are in poverty that are more likely to be victims of gun violence and things like that, especially people that might be thought of as stereotypically rap fans or whatever. So I thought it was a little interesting that this white girl is a big Meg Thee Stallion fan, even to the extent that she's using Meg's music as inspiration. And she's saying things like, I'm ratchet and I'm savage. And then this guy gets thrown out, an actual victim of gun violence, get thrown out in what the doctor describes as a homeboy ambulance, which...
A what?
A homeboy ambulance, which I know why are you laughing when I say it, but you didn't like it when she did.
She didn't say ambulance.
You're still back to me saying ambulance.
Sorry,
I literally never thought of that as being, because I know I can have a thick Southern accent, both of us do, but I've never thought of us ambulance or ambulance. I like how Kendrick Lamar says it. He says ambulance.
I just think of Claire from Modern Family when
ambulance.
Yes.
I don't think I've ever noticed that you said ambulance.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever in my life said ambulance.
I'm going to get Eric to say it when we get off. I'm going to start paying attention. I'm going to start polling people about this.
Remind me to ask Mark how he says it.
Okay. Back to the point, though. I do think that it's possible they were trying to say something about how very unprepared this girl really was, or like something about her partaking in rap culture to the point that she's singing Meg Thee Stallion, but at the same time is completely unprepared for the reality of this young Black man getting shot in the stomach and then thrown out of a moving van so that whoever's driving it doesn't get in trouble for what's going on.
I didn't see it that way, but I didn't see that there was a connection, but I'm curious. I'll have to go back and watch it.
Yeah, me too. It's hard to explain what I'm saying there because
I get it.
It's one of those things that I want to go down a big old rabbit hole about because it's, I think, not so much about race as it is about socioeconomic status, because just, taking the two of us, for example, you are a Black woman and I'm pasty lily white, but we definitely, you have challenges that I will never know anything about, having to be a Black woman in America. But if you look at our socioeconomic backgrounds, I'm the one that came from a much poorer background from childhood, and you had two white collar parents. And so in some ways, and you don't like rap music, and I love rap music.
I like 90s rap music. I don't like today's nonsense.
Right. That didn't make you sound 90 years old at all.
I am.
But anyway, my point is that I don't necessarily even think that I didn't want to give the impression that I'm trying to say that it's even as simple as a black and white thing. I just think that maybe they were trying to highlight a difference in what her naivety versus how she sees herself.
And it's possible. I did not see that, but I'm not saying that there could not be a connection, and I'm going to watch for it.
Yeah, I don't know. Either way, I enjoyed it. It reminded me very much of how ridiculous I probably would sound or funny.
I thought of you. I was like, that's Mandy.
Yeah, me too. I know. It must be. Ava's friends think it's very funny that this 50-year-old white lady is really, really deep into rap culture.
Real quick, I know we're running long again, but there is I should have sent, maybe I did send it to you. I don't know. But there is a little GIF I saw. It's a cat dressed in like a scarf and a little hat driving. And it's like me listening to gangster rap while driving to Whole Foods to get oat milk and something else. And I was like, that's Mandy.
Yeah, wherever I might have come from, life's pretty bougie these days.
Do you have any additional points you want to make on the episode? And if not, would you like to give me your final thoughts before I share mine?
I think the only other thing I want to bring up is that I thought it was hilarious when Pasty and Bitchy was arguing with young Amy Adams at the desk, and the nurses were just sitting there like ping pong. Like, oh, no, it wasn't young Amy Adams. It was Javadi. And they were just sitting there like back and forth watching them. And Javadi finally was standing up for herself a little bit.
I'm so glad she did.
Me too. But they were just like, oh, that was me and you. Like, oh, this is about to pop off. We're just sitting there eating our popcorn.
Yeah.
And I like when they said they think she's going to stand up. She's going to end up standing up. So she might surprise us. I kind of think this whole journey is going to be her realizing she doesn't want to be a doctor, but maybe not.
I don't know. She's going to have I definitely believe she's going to have a great moment in regards to her career. I hope that in her personal life, she grows knowing she beat that bitch down. That's what I want.
I definitely think if nothing, no matter what else happens, I hope there's a moment where she tells old Pasty to eat a dick.
So, final thoughts?
I liked it. It was good. I really think, like I told you in the first one, I was hoping for more of just like grittier, I don't know what the right word is, pay cable type level of writing as opposed to like network TV. And I definitely think we got more of that. There's a lot less exposition, a lot less over the top, unbelievable drama, and more of like character driven stories.
I have to say, this one wrung me out emotionally. A lot of very sad cases, and watching each med student except Trinity, aka Pasty or Parsky, grow, even if in a small way, was very refreshing. And all I say is this was only hour 2. Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, unfortunately, we did not get any feedback, but hopefully we will soon. If anyone listening would like to leave us some feedback or just say hi, please email or send us a voice message as an attachment to @whatsontonite2@gmail.com. You can visit our Facebook page. There will be a post for the next episode, and you can leave feedback in the comment section or send us a message through Facebook Messenger. We can also be found on Instagram at What's On Tonight Podcast 2. We would greatly appreciate it if you would please like our podcast, leave a review, comment, and or share on your podcast listening app of choice. That goes a long way, and we would appreciate it. So, on to podcast recommendations or anything else that you want to talk about. Before we get to Mandy, I can be heard on Adrenaline Cinema podcast, Panels to Pixels podcast, and here on What's On Tonight podcast. As far as recommendations, Mark, Billy, and Laura just recorded, actually last night, recorded their coverage of the movie Nosferatu for Adrenaline Cinema podcast. I haven't seen the movie yet, but I'm very excited to see it and really interested to hear the gang's thoughts on the movie when it comes out. I also recommend listeners check out The Cast of Us over on Podtastica, as they just started back their coverage of The Walking Dead rewatch. We're on to episode 4 now. Check it out, and you can find them and a lot of other great podcasts on podtastica.com. Mandy?
No podcast recommendations this week. Again, I'll just mention Nashville Launchpad. I know we're running over again, so I won't go too far down that rabbit hole, but check them out online if you can. If you have no money, there's time and materials you could donate. If you have no time or materials, you can always throw them a few bucks. If you can't do either of those, you can share them on your social media.
Awesome. A big thank you to, as always, to our dear Mark, Agent Mark, as I like to call him, and PowerCore Entertainment for giving us this platform and for all your hard work. Please visit PowerCore website. It can be found on our Facebook page. You can also find our podcast as well as other podcasts like the Slay Lounge podcast with Billy and Will. I was very excited to hear that Billy is possibly going to start covering Gilmore Girls, and he said I could be on for some episodes. So watch out, world, you're not ready. You can also find other projects that Mark is working on that website as well, so please check it out.
And that wraps up our coverage of episode 2 of The Pit. We'll be back next week when we will break down episode 3 titled 9 a.m.
Thank you everyone so much for listening. I'm Becky.
And I'm Mandy.
We'll catch you next week when we grab the remote and see what's on tonight.
Bye.
Damn it, where is this guy's name?
I know that, I've found 2 or 3 different recaps, and 2 of the 3 don't even mention that storyline.
For the listeners, everybody, Mandy and Becky are in the process of trying to figure out.
We may have broken up already, guys.
Who?
I think this might be the end of What's On Tonight.
No. It's like if you've been watching The Pit, there was a gentleman that, an elderly gentleman, little overweight, I would say, but was dealing with the young intern, and he was like, "Oh, you have a stone in your gallbladder, so we'll put you on this." And he kept asking for whiskey, and then he goes, "Well, it's like 8 in the morning." And well, it's anytime. So the kid was like, oh, okay, you got a problem. And then later on, he kind of, by the second episode, spoilers, passed away. So they're in the process of trying to figure out if
he's the same guy from the first episode or not.
And he's not.
And this will be in the second episode of the podcast of The Pit, everybody. So keep that in mind.
Pitt's character guide. Okay, let's see. Who is in Max's medical drama? La 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 la,
blah, blah, blah,
la,
blah,
la,
blah.
la.
Dr. King's
Not
part of
you,
it.
This is on
not
the
Oh my
trivia
God, this is the fourth
on
one that
What's
didn't even
On
mention
Tonight.
that. This
not
is
you, not you. Oh, come on. You got to give more than the main.
the 4th recap that did not even mention that storyline.
All right. So this is interesting
Look
media,
at Dr.
everybody.
Whitaker's gallstone patient. Let's try that.
There you go.
Ridiculous.
What is the
Hate it.
giveaway for the listeners for this if they get it correct?
Depends on who's right. If it's Mandy, they get
You're
shit.
just going to never hear the end of it.
If it's me, I'm going to send them an ambulance.
I like this one review from the AV Club.
Okay. See, oh, wait a minute. All right, the pit starts with blah, 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 blah.
Well, I might
Blah,
listen to
blah.
a Peanuts episode. Blah, 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 blah.
I'm trying to get to it was the head of the headline, and now I can't even find it in the freaking article. Hard lessons. Whitaker movie. Mr. Milton. His name is Mr. Milton.
Yes, in the second episode, he's definitely Mr. Milton, but is that the same man from the first episode? That's what I'm trying to find, is where they mention his name. No, that's it. This is stupid. We're getting off, and I'm going to go watch both episodes
Mr.
again.
Milton. Well, I have him right here. Okay. All right. So, Mr. Milton is a character from the TV series The Pitt, appearing in an episode where he is a patient in the hospital, often mentioned in relation to a critical medical situation that occurs while he's under the care of a doctor named Whitaker. Medical issue. He is presented as a patient with gallstones, which
He's an
becomes a
alcoholic
significant
patient with
plot point in the episode. He is not the same guy.
I'm on that episode right now. I'm just gonna.
The guy, they're complete. I know you think all black people look alike.
Yes,
But
Becky.
damn.
Yes. This does remind me of the Office episode where it was like, does Stanley have a mustache or not?
Yes. Okay, all right. Which episode are you looking at?
I'm looking at episode 1 until I get to the part where they
All
first
right, I'm
bring
gonna
him
go
on.
back to my Gmail and I'm gonna open episode 1. I'm gonna share it. We can watch it together because it would be
Never look to
great.
see if he has a wedding ring on.
Don't.
Noah Wiley.
Don't add insult to any injuries that could happen today.
He's a pretty boy anyway.
I love Noah
He's a
Wiley.
lot less
Oh
of
my
a pretty boy now than he was when he was young.
Why is the gray actually adds a little bit more?
He's-
I agree.
I'm a heterosexual male, but I do
Oh
appreciate
wait,
a man
damn
who's
it,
handsome.
that's the output.
All right, there's old pukey pants in the.
All right, Pitts. Okay, here it is. All right, now I'm gonna share my screen. Oh
All
no,
right.
I don't want to share that
All
way.
right, and I'm
Stop
back
it.
to White Boy here. While I'm doing this, let's look at y'all's friend White Boy here and see if I can see if he's the same dude that's in the crash.
White boy, which one's that?
The gray-headed guy that was going to off himself.
Oh yeah.
He is all Mandy. Look, he's only. Oh, God, you are so sexy. I
You
would
gotta
do things.
fast forward so much.
Well, he comes in early, right? I know it's not that part. I love her. I love him.
This is the beginning of the first episode.
This is where they meet drunk Louie.
Yes.
A little bit further than that, lady.
How much? Okay,
Way
well, no,
further.
it's when they start rounds, isn't it?
It's like 15
Yeah.
minutes in.
All right. See, there's White Boy still there. He's making sarcastic remarks about, oh, you're going to have an existential crisis too. All right.
Louis Cloverfield. Suck it, Mandy. Suck it. That
Fine.
is Louis Cloverfield.
No,
Well, then I
Louis
want to know why they
Cloverfield.
had two.
No. Louis Cloverfield was the guy who came in drunk
The drunk
all the
guy that
time.
Mandy
Yeah.
thinks is the same guy as the gallstone
But there was
patient,
another
but he's
older
not.
black man that came in that talked to the
that's been our whole,
intern.
that's been our whole argument, though. I thought it was that guy.
She
She's
thought it was
right.
this
I
guy.
was wrong.
No,
I thought it was this. But to be fair, to have two guys of very similar build, same age, same general phenotype, and they're both suffering the effects of alcoholism.
Yes.
Seems
Well,
like
one
either,
was demanding alcoholism because he had a gallstone, and it put the intern off. But this guy
They
died.
said nothing about alcoholism in that gallstone patient.
well, I had heard that because he was asking for booze and whiskey at
Yes.
at 6 o'clock in the morning, and he even said you can have ice chips, and he was like, "Ugh, no."
Ugh.
I
And then
take
he
my
goes, you know
whiskey
what
neat."
would happen?
So it was
It's better
heavily
with ice
implied
chips
that he
or
was an
whiskey.
alcoholic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to go ahead real quick just to clarify who was right in this
All right, I'm hanging out. You're
scenario.
getting it's a break. Breaking up.
I was just here supporting both y'all, but I kind of
appreciate
figured and
that.
thought what was going on.
She's right. I'm wrong.
But-
But now,
Oh my
so
God,
then,
Mark,
am I
can
wrong
you
about?
capture that for me?
Am
That's
I
going
wrong
to be my
about?
new ringtone.
It's already on the audio, lady, so
Excellent.
everybody else is going to hear it. So you
Am
can
I
put
wrong
it in
about
the
the gray-haired
outtakes.
white guy too?
I am going to have, that's going to have to, you're going to, I don't know,
Oh,
because
gray-haired white guy. Oh,
I'm
boy.
not sure where you saw him in the second episode.
When they were all like,
All right,
was
hold
one
on.
of the
I'm
ones
going
where
to
they
pull
had-
up. Hold on. I'm pulling up the second episode. We're going to do
wanna
this
watch
Listeners, you
together.
are in for a world of surprise with these outtakes.
All right,
I watched this
episode
show
2.
with Brandy in it. Did you see the commercials for the show with Brandy and she's pregnant and
I did not.
has
All
a
right,
crazy
hey,
mother-in-law?
no, but it sounds good. All right, where in this episode do you think that is?
How
It's
far in?
one of the places where they're like having a big, like it was maybe where the bike guy where they were intubating him.
Ooh,
Bike guy, he
that's
came
pretty
in a
far
little
in.
later, right?
Bet you're pregnant. Okay.
And
It really pisses me off that I pay them and they still have to watch commercials.
that's right, but I want a sandwich too. I'm hungry.
I hated her.
I hated her too. I'm not even on the podcast, everybody.
Like here, wait a minute, maybe here.
That's not bicycle. Is that no? That's
This is when they
electrocution
intubate 'em.
man.
Yeah, this may not be it. It was the one that had
Oh,
that
this is the
doctor you
mandible
don't
boy.
like.
Surgeon lady whose name I refuse to learn. Is it after this or before this?
I don't remember. All right, I give up. You're probably
Oh,
right.
this is when those we figure out those something's happening between those two.
Which ones?
Yeah, this creeps me out.
Okay, is that the gunshot? That's the gunshot
Yeah,
guy.
it's a gunshot
Him,
guy.
right there.
Where?
It was right behind him. Him.
That is a totally different dude. You have
That's not
got
the
to
same
get
guy that
No,
almost
it's not.
that almost
It is not.
ate it
Mandy,
at the
it's
beginning.
not the same guy. That guy is.
Oh yeah, that guy has
he has a name.
He has a goatee.
I'm 2 for 2 tonight.
Yeah, this is going to be a real challenge for me through this series. I'm definitely going to have to start making better notes because I'm going to be doing this the whole time if we don't.
Oh yeah, yeah. Becky's going to challenge Mandy, everybody, and this is going to be a battle.
This
of
could
the
be an
wills.
ongoing thing. Is just who did Mandy think was from?
Yeah.
How many
I'm just gonna
characters did
start-
Mandy think were the same people?
Sliding a rando in my notes, and you're going to be like, "Oh my god, I love that guy." And I'll be like, "That guy wasn't even in the episode."
Well, one of the many reviews I did see was like, if you think this is a cast of thousands, you're right.
It is.
Oh.
No, I'm not. I just had to. I knew that wasn't the same guy.
Dang it, I was over. Damn.
Yeah.
All right, well, everybody, that ends our discussion of Was It This Guy? And you could find that on the next episode. We'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.
Funny.